SWAT Cops, the only podcast where every week we police the mean streets of the internet because, hey, somebody's got to do it. And then we let you be the judge, the jury, and the executioner in the court of public opinion, coming to you live from Neo Chicago. I am Officer Kevin.
I'm Officer Grant.
What's up, Grant? Grant, I haven't seen you in some time. You were gone.
It's been
a couple weeks. You were in Germany.
It's been a week.
How was Germany? I wanted to ask you before recording, but I wanted to wait for the show so we had pull some content out of it.
Yeah, Kevin and I don't talk outside the show. We just wait for the show to talk.
We're like the Mythbusters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which apparently they don't hate each other.
Yeah, neither do we.
I don't remember who told us that, but someone did say that on an episode. So that's cool. I don't know. We didn't spend too much time in Germany. That was only a couple days. It was for a wedding. So it was like...
Well, how was the rest of Europe?
It was cool. Germany and Amsterdam were the two places that we'd been. So...
Did you, when you were in Amsterdam, did you do a little...
Dude, it's like... It's like, no, keep doing it. Keep going. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. No, it's like crazy. It's like worse out there. I think that it gained that reputation because it's like the only place in like the western portion of the world where you could like go and smoke weed legally.
Yeah.
But you can only do it like in like a basement somewhere with other people. Like it's just like a weird sterile environment. It's like,
so that's kind of like how it was here 10 years ago.
No, without the legal. Like it's like you go to like a coffee shop and you smoke like in the basement of a coffee. Like you can't like walk around with a joint, which is just like, I thought you guys were cool. They're not cool. They don't care.
Man, what a bummer.
It's not that cool of a thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's Europe. It's different.
It certainly is a little bit different.
Glad to be back.
Well, we're back, folks, and we have a brand new guest on the show with us today. We have Jonathan Dunne with us. How are you, Jonathan?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is something we've been meaning to do for a while because I remember last time we had Andrew Shanklin on the show. He was like, you should get my friend Jonathan on the show. He would be a good guest.
That was 2.5 years ago.
It was a while ago.
Every time an old guest is like, oh yeah, I haven't been on your show in 4 years. It's like, oh, we've been doing a show for 4 years.
Yeah, that's
what the fuck?
Alarming.
I thought I just talked to you. And it's like, no, it's been like 2. Like pre-pandemic. We just haven't talked to anybody since the pandemic.
The pandemic makes time feel a little more kind of stretched out and longer than it actually is. But Jonathan, I mentioned Andrew Shanklin. You and him host a show at the Lincoln Lodge called Can of Worms Comedy. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's we came together as a sketch group. Me, Shanklin, Jeff Braun, Luke Ipsum, Maddie Davis, and Alex Bay, and we just like started doing a sketch. And we have another show on Sundays where it's a little looser, but on Fridays once a month we have like a tight rehearsed sketch show that we do, and it's a dang good time.
It sounds like it, because a lot of people who have been on Can of Worms have also been on this very show, such as Ian Erickson, Max Shanklin.
Cops, we call them.
Yeah, you guys are basically the Worm Cops.
Yo.
The little crossover episode here, but
Clop Front too, right?
Oh, a ton of times.
He's a big fan favorite.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like we talk about the Lincoln Lodge is like really coming up. I feel like every time we have like a local Chicago comedian on, they're like, oh yeah, I do a show at the Lincoln Lodge. We do a show at the Lincoln Lodge sometimes. It's been about a year, but we sometimes do one. And we should do one again soon because it would be a lot of fun.
December? When was the last?
August.
It was August?
It was like summer. Yeah, last summer.
Because I can't remember, because that was like, we did a show and then they said mask mandate and we went, we're not going to do a show. And then they like lifted it or something.
Well,
I can't fucking remember.
Last summer was kind of weird with the whole mask mandate. So we had a show. We had it was like our second or third show of the summer,
right? And
like a week before then, they were like masks back on, and we're like, shit. Yeah. Well, guys, don't forget your masks and your cards and everything else. But I know you guys. What was it? A goldfish tank you were doing before?
Yeah.
And then you kind of moved it to Can of Worms Comedy. So if you could give us a brief elevator pitch on what is Can of Worms.
It's I think
Feel free to move a little more into the frame too if you're
you can scoot in.
go.
We're all
Yeah.
we're all friends here.
I hate doing that in the middle of an episode, but just
it's I think it feels like there isn't any like really alternative weird like comedy in like there is, but it's like there's less than there used to be in Chicago of like very strange, surreal, and dirty. I feel like regular stand up kind of took control, and Lincoln Lodge was like giving out a lot of spots, which is great. But we want to do something that was like really alternative and weird. And we also felt like a lot of our friends that we really love, like Ian and Klopfer, weren't getting booked as much, and we just wanted to like have a show for them to show everyone like our friends.
Yeah, for the folks who think outside the box.
Yeah, for the real twist.
outside the can.
Outside the can.
Yeah, and all those worms too. So how often do you guys do the show for anyone who's local and is like, I want to see it? Because if you're living near the Chicagoland area, or you want to book a flight here and see a comedy show, how often is Can of Worms where any of our listeners can come see you?
Once a month, second Friday of the month.
Wonderful. And you know what? There are so many people I know in this city who, people outside of the comedy sphere who are like, oh yeah, I always forget there's like comedy shows here. And it's like, there's comedy shows all the time. All the time, every single night. You should go, because they're always like, oh, I want to see more stuff. And it's like, they're constantly happening, it's so easy to find. And I
feel like so much live event stuff has just flown off my radar,
And I get that because of the whole
and it sucks because I don't want to feel like that, but also it's like I go places and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, it's like I don't even enjoy being out as much anymore.
I don't either.
Everything kind of sucks.
I'm trying to force myself to get back out there. I'm doing a little bit of stand up again myself. I don't
mean to be like complaining about this for like 2 years straight, but it's just like not gotten better.
Well, at least you don't have to wear a freaking mask.
Yeah,
thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Fauci.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hey, it's Dark Brandon time though. Remember when who said that on the show? Was that Serb?
Yeah.
So when Serb mentioned Dark Brandon, and then all of a sudden I started seeing Dark Brandon everywhere.
They're listening, folks. These things are listening to your every single word.
It's like Dark Brandon, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Dark.
All
Brandon.
of a sudden, now it's a thing. Now it's cool. Now.
What is it?
I don't.
We still don't really know. It's like the Biden administration was trying to make Joe Biden seem like they were trying to like
they tried to r/the Donald Joe Biden.
Oh, okay. They make him seem like a badass.
He's an epic meme man now.
Hell yeah. The ice cream.
The ice cream guy.
Imagine the image where he's eating the ice cream cone, but he has that filter where his eyes are glowing and everything, and it looks deep fried, and it's just like, still not feeling it.
It's so focus grouped.
Yeah. God, that's so gross, man. Speaking of gross, if you're listening to this audio version, you can watch a video version of it on youtube.com/thoughtcops. We got all sorts of fun highlight clips, YouTube shorts on the channel. So check that out. Subscribe to us over there for all the fun you could shake a stick at, basically, as well as TikTok. We're at ThoughtCops on TikTok. And if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and we'll read it on the show.
Or on Instagram. A lot of our Instagram reels have been doing pretty well lately.
Surprised? Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised. Sometimes I'll just put.
Is it because we've had so little success with everything else that it's like, oh, look, success?
Basically, no. It's just like sometimes I don't know. Like I've been basically doing the same thing I've more or less been doing for the show for years.
We've tightened it up a lot more.
A little bit,
too,
yeah. But like putting the clips on like Instagram, I think it's like the whole Instagram Reels thing. So if you're listening because you saw us in Instagram Reels, welcome. But it's cool. Like sometimes I'll just put up a random clip for an episode and I don't check Instagram for a few hours and it's like got like 300-400 likes. I'm like, who are all these people?
Yeah, this is more than what listens to the show on a regular basis.
Yeah, so if you
depending on the episode,
if you like the 60-second clip, check out the whole episode. It's like that, but way more.
Yeah, it's crazy because it is one of those things where it's like I know that people interact with these apps differently, than you or I might. I go on Instagram, I scroll 3 posts down, and I close out of Instagram. I'm just like, I don't care. But people just go on shorts and they just go, or shorts or reels or whatever.
Reels, whatever the hell it is. I hate that shit. Everything's got a different name. TikToks, Reels, Shorts.
People will look down on me for being like, oh, I'm on TikTok a lot. And they're like, did you see this reel? And I'm like, no, I'm not on Reels. What are you talking about? It's all the same shit. It's the same shit.
It's a little foreign to me, like the idea of like someone just like laying on their back on the couch and like on their phone, like scrolling Instagram Reels and then being
that's why we're getting so many likes.
Right.
People just sit there
I
and
can't
they just
complain.
scroll and they do a heart and they just keep scrolling.
I can't exactly complain. And like I said, if you're one of the fine folks who found us that way, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Also, scroll on down to the episode description because we have a link to our Discord server, which is hot. People are in there 24/7 debating all sorts of things and getting up to all kinds of wacky shenanigans. So join the Thought Cops Discord server. It's like the lifeblood of the show. You know, it's like
truly
people talk. They're like, hey, you guys should cover this. You should talk about that.
People post their alternative Wordle app answers.
Oh yeah, if you love Wordle variants.
You
check out the Discord.
Nobody talks to each other anymore. It's the online equivalent of being at dinner with your family and everyone's on their phones. Yeah. Everyone's on their phones, in their phones. It's great. Go ahead and join.
Sometimes we talk about Better Call Saul. It's kind of
That's
fun.
another thing. You open up the visual media, which is what we call TV shows, movies.
Yeah, we have a whole lot of
that channel, and it's just big black blocks just like for days upon days. Like everyone's using the spoiler tag. So
every
it's like,
Tuesday we're like, did you see it?
You can't see what's being talked about, but you know that a lot of people are talking about it.
You might think that Edward Snowden joined the server, but actually we're just discussing the latest episode of Better Call Saul, which is now over, so that will no longer be happening.
Damn.
Rip.
The body.
Rip to that. But let's get on to a very famous, very favorite segment of the show called 2 Minutes of Hate, where we like to blanket punish all that annoying random crap that we see on our phone screens and our computer screens every single day of the week. Now, Jonathan, I know you're a comedian. We're all comedians here. We participate in the art of comedy, and there has been a lot of debate about what the purpose of comedy is these days from people who either do comedy or don't do comedy. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this. Jonathan, I want to ask you a question. Do you think comedy should be offensive? Yes or no?
I think yes, but it shouldn't hurt anyone or make anyone feel excluded is what I think.
Sure. And I would say I agree, but this debate tends to constantly go on I guess Twitter mostly, but it's this whole thing of like whether or not comedy should be not just subversive, but like offensive. And there's people out there who are like, oh, if something is offensive, that means it's funny. Or if something is offensive at all, that means it's not funny at all. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't talk about that. You shouldn't touch that. We have been having the same conversation for
it's getting worse,
like almost a decade now. It's just like constantly happening, and it always devolves into like the debate for the whole thing is like, oh, you like someone who is like combating against somebody who thinks, you know, comedy always has to be offensive. It can never be just whatever. And always somebody's grand trump card is always, oh yeah, well, comedy doesn't have to be offensive. Explain this. And they post a link to like the dumbest random humor thing ever. Yeah. Like the first thing was like cold pockets. Or it was like, oh, comedians think comedy has to be offensive. Well, explain this. And they show a Photoshop of like the Hot Pockets box, but instead of like filling, it's filled with ice and it just says cold pockets. And it's just like, I guess that's kind of funny. I mean, it's not bad. It's just kind of there, you know?
I'm laughing right now.
Yeah, I'm laughing my freaking ass off over here at the Hot Pocket that's not exactly hot. And
you know when I think it got like really bad is when people are now like martyrs for free speech and everyone's like a philosopher king over comedy. And I know that we've talked this into the ground, but I think that that's really when it like turned the corner into just being like unbearable because it's just another one of those things where it's like people don't even like do like the discussion of like, hey, you might like this comedian, but also you can say something where you can criticize something that they've said.
Yeah.
A lot of people were doing that with like the Dave Chappelle shit, where they were like, listen, I love Dave Chappelle. I watched his newest special. I thought it was funny. I had some problems with what he said. People go, no, you can't have an opinion. It's like, well, isn't his free speech and I have free speech about his free speech? Aren't we like engaging in a dialogue about this? And people go, no, you're canceling him. And it's like, enough of that has happened where it's like, I don't even have an opinion. Whatever. Comedy's not funny anymore. It's not. I don't like it. It's bad. I will never laugh again.
Yeah, I've resorted to reading tomes and scrolls now. Ancient texts.
A little cave painting of a dog.
Yeah, and I don't get any like entertainment from it, but I just read it and I absorb it, and I'm like, well, at least it's not comedy, I guess.
Hey, I don't want to hear you say anything bad about Beowulf again. It's
we're a pro Beowulf podcast here. Don't get me wrong, but there's always these like, I'm going to read a Twitter post I saw that says comedians, comma. If you're not offending someone, you're not doing comedy right. Mitch Hedberg, comma. I think Bigfoot is blurry. That's the problem. It's not the photographer's fault, and that's extra scary to me because there's a large out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside. Listen, I like Mitch Hedberg just fine. I feel like everybody when I went to high school was like had a Mitch Hedberg CD in their car.
Yeah.
And was like, we got to listen to this shit, dude.
Yeah.
And again, I like you mentioned alt comedy. That's more of like the vein that I want to inhabit myself. I know we talk about topical stuff here on the show, occasionally somewhat politically adjacent, but I just like to inhabit this space of, silly for the sake of silly, but also commenting on what's happening around us. But just the idea that like, that's the end of the debate is like, see, that's random, isn't it?
It's like, yeah, you know what else is funny? Like cat videos, but cats aren't aware of the fact that they're funny. They're just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. Like, that's not like an auteur didn't create a cat video of like a cat tumbling off of a ladder or whatever and then landing funny and then looking strange or whatever. It's just like, that's just what it looks like.
Yeah, we're laughing at them, not with them, of course.
Like, oh, it's the highest achievement of humanity is to what? Tell a fart joke.
Yeah. Now my punishment.
You're brave.
My punishment for this is God. I wish I had one right now, but I would hold up a spork.
That's a corkscrew. That's even more random.
You're right. This is the
corkscrew of doom.
Corkscrew of doom. And imagine I'm like a little penguin.
Done.
That's random.
That is so random. No, like, just, like that was, we have to go, if people want that so bad, that's also the second half of my punishment. If people want random humor so bad, we all get in a time machine and we go back to 2005, where all humor was just like, sporks, cheese,
finger spoons.
Yeah. Doom, cheese of doom. It was always like blank of doom, something spork of doom.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell that came from. Hey, they were the original doomers, in my opinion.
Honestly, I wish that Brandon Kirkman's asking if he can leave a message. No, you can't.
Yeah,
Brandon.
sorry.
Man. Cut off. I forgot what I was going to say.
Love Brendan.
Well, he's with us in spirit.
Yeah, flushing a toilet somewhere.
I don't finish the thought.
No,
I think the idea of like someone being like, this is comedy. It's always a turnoff. It can be the funniest thing. It can be literally like my favorite, like you said, like Mitch Hedberg or whatever. It's like, I love that, or I love like Dimitri Martin or whatever. And it's like, you could be like, comedy has to be offensive to be funny. What about this? And I'll hate it because you're telling me that this has to be funny. It's not like spontaneous. That's not like how people perceive comedy as being. It's like, you have to have like a little bit of shock, a little bit of surprise. You laying it out on a silver platter is not going to make me be like, oh, that's real. It's like that's not how the art form like works.
And it also puts it into a small, tiny box. It's like saying that comedy can only be one thing. There can be you could be political, you could be absurdist, you could be whatever, topical, it doesn't matter. Like it can be a lot of different things. And now the argument always ends up being like, oh, it has to be this one specific kind of comedy because this is what I find funny. And if you disagree, you're racist, basically. If you don't, that's my take here on Thought Cops. If you don't think Cold Pockets is funny, you're racist.
That's fine. That's fair.
Jonathan, what is your 2 minutes of hate? What's bugging you, man?
Oh, I think I've been getting pissed off at the people who have been like trying to take down Nathan Fielder online.
Ah, yes.
Like I just finished the rehearsal today.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I haven't seen the last one
good.
yet.
And it's like it kind of feels like the best comedy or maybe even entertainment is someone just ruining their life for real and putting it on camera.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for so long. We've been using TV like that.
Yeah.
Like me and my girlfriend have been watching a lot of reality shows lately. And it's like, that's just what reality shows are, is watching someone just self-implode just in front of millions of people. And that the idea that people are like, oh, Nathan Fielder is like ruining people's lives. It's like television is ruining people's lives. All this fucking junk that we have, the TVs, the phones, the computers, they're all bad. Yeah. We all just use them to destroy people. Anyway, continue.
Well, one thing I want to say really quick, because we did touch a little bit on the Nathan Fielder discourse, but not much. So I think we have some further ground to explore here. Like, the one thing I will say that's like non-spoilery about the rehearsal is that oftentimes the joke is it's not just on Nathan, it's definitely on everybody, but there's definitely an exploration of like how Nathan might interact with people. I mean, there was one episode where it like folded in on itself so much where it was almost like, basically, this is how these shows exploit people, and we're just going to do it. And like, oh, the HBO cameras are on, but that's just kind of strange. This agreement's long. Well, everybody else is signing it.
Yeah.
And so, like, he does address it in a very smart way while still engaging with it. But it's still like, well, what were you going to say about it?
Oh, I was going to say, I think it's what I need to do as a comedian to get to the next level and come to Can of Worms September 2nd Friday. I'm going to be ruining my life real soon, guys. Stay tuned.
Man, I want to check that out because I want to be there front row center and see you just totally ruin your life, the last shred of reputation you have on stage. I mean, folks, doesn't that sound like fun? Don't you want to see somebody just ruin it all? Like, you could stay home and watch 90 Day Fiancé, or you could go to the Lincoln Lodge and see comedians do it every single night.
Live
in front of I guess not a studio audience, but in front of you at home.
Hey, I have friends who work on 90 Day Fiancé and like those types of reality shows.
Yeah.
And it's like, the producers are like, okay, you guys, you got to fight about this now. Like, he said this, like, you got to like have it. And like, they're fighting on camera, and then it's like, it's all lies. But you do see their houses get nicer each season. They got to fight.
It's a living. So what's your punishment? I mean, is it just come to Can of Worms and then you destroy your life?
Yeah, and hopefully yours. So come.
And I think that's only fair, because if the comedian's on stage, ruining their life, someone in the audience could perhaps do the same. A little crowd work.
It's aspirational.
Yeah.
It's called give and take. It can't be one way or the other. But yeah, I think that a lot of entertainment does come from like the realness, and like you said, the rehearsal really captures that so well. And all the discourse around Nathan Fielder being manipulative, that's kind of why it's funny. But it's also, the show is very aware of it. Just those shots, because he's got that like strap laptop around his back, and just the shots of him like orchestrating some insane shit, and the camera just slowly like zooming in on him. It's like, we are meant to think this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking crazy, Grant, you look like you're going loco over there.
My 2 minutes. Did we ever talk sort of a little more in depth with what's happening with the Jake Novak situation, the discourse around that? Because I feel like that's been bugging me, and I never really talked about that too much. We might have like talked a little bit about it, maybe when Luke was on last time.
Yeah,
but
and
I feel
and when Mads was on, and also probably with Ian was
maybe
on.
that's not a good thing. I feel like
this may be the sixth time we've mentioned
in a similar sense, like there's been this whole like bullying discourse where people are like, we're all bullying him, and actually he's very funny, and it's like that's kind of been pissing me off lately. But if we talked about it enough, then I don't need to go there. Where I will go is did you say you were going to do this one, or is this
that's
up
yours,
for grabs?
Man.
All right.
Yeah.
My 2 minutes of hate is single-use apps.
Mm-hmm.
You download an app because someone says, hey, you can't do this unless you have an app.
Waiting in line for like a restaurant.
Restaurants are big ones.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant just a couple blocks away where you go there and they don't have regular menus anymore. You scan the thing for a menu, and instead of bringing you to a web page, brings you to an app that you have to download so that you see the menu. So I can't order food. I'm out on the streets starving unless I go to the Play Store and download your app.
That is so fucked up, because like usually restaurants will have you just scan the QR code and it opens like the menu. Actually, when Zwick was here,
you can't even like go to their website and look up the menu, because if you go to the website and look up the menu, it makes you download the app.
When me and Zwick went out for food when he was here, and he was like, he's like, oh, where's the menu? I'm like, oh, you just scanned it on your phone. Then he just was like, oh, and he pulls out his flip phone. And it's like, dude, you got, my dude, you got to upgrade. You got to upgrade.
My brother in Christ. Yeah, that's annoying. But also, like, it's not only restaurants, but I think restaurants are big in this regard.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of things where it's just like, oh, download. And it's like you sit there and you have this app on your phone and it's taking up space and it's just looking at you and you never use it. And it's just like, why? And then what happens is usually you delete it. Mm-hmm. And then you go back to that restaurant. You have to re-download it again.
You go back to Legoland and they're like, where the fuck is your app, dude?
Yeah, seriously,
Did
man.
you forget your username? Like, yes, I don't go here all the time.
That's the worst, where it's like you have to like, oh, I forgot my password. You got to go through a whole thing because you want to order a fucking hot dog. Assuming that's the kind of restaurant you went to that would make you download an app.
Yeah, whatever. Like, it can be anything, but yeah. It's like, just take my phone number and then just sell it to a third-party marketing company. Yeah. Like, just give me spam. That was the trade-off. I'm fine with the trade-off.
And I love when you download these apps, too. There's like a notification that comes up where it's like, may we please track your location? And it's like,
you are already.
Does it matter what I say? Does it really? If I say no, you'll go away? I want to say, too, I remember... Like I use my old job, there was like a 7-Eleven next door basically, and I would go there a lot. So I downloaded the 7-Eleven app because, you know, you get the points, you get a free fucking taquito or something.
Right.
And I remember it was at the live show we did with the Stereos in Sarancha back in like 2019.
Yeah.
The very first Thought Cops live show.
That was 6 years ago.
Holy crap, Lois.
We haven't had them on in 6 years.
Wow. And I remember I was like scrolling my phone to like find a note for the show. And then in front of a sold-out audience, the Stereos goes, wait, Kevin, can I see your phone? And I'm like, sure. He's like, you have the 7-Eleven app?
Okay, Stereos also claimed to have bought Pinkerton, the Weezer album, on iTunes to get a rise out of us, and then later admitted that it was a lie. So I really don't have any words for a Stereos.
He like, we did a live show.
Judging you for having the 7-Eleven app, trying to get your points so that you can get a free taquito.
We were on the Loudest podcast recently doing like an album review of Weezer's Pinkerton.
Hell yeah.
And Asterios, the host of that show, he had this whole bit leading up to it where like, you know, he's like, oh, I'm pushing 40 and I'm downloading the new Weezer app on iTunes. And like, we're like, why are you paying for the album on iTunes? This episode was like, what, 2 months ago?
He had like a whole reason behind it. He was like, oh, because kids nowadays, they don't value purchasing things. And we're like, yeah, whatever, man.
Well, then like 5 days ago, he comes clean and he's like,
guys, I lied. Like, nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
Like, but to be fair, it was a very funny bit, and I got to commend the dedication to it. Not
it was offensive, and that's how you know that it was real comedy.
Seriously, I was triggered.
Offended.
That is so Nathan Field.
Seriously, like next level You're right. He manipulated us.
The puppet master.
Yeah. We should cancel Asterios for manipulating us like that. He made us think that was the truth.
Right.
Anyway, one-time apps. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's the punishment. Just come on.
Come on. Seriously?
Make me use it more than once. Find a way.
Yeah,
You're
real.
smart guys. Yeah.
Make it a social media thing. Like I'm not going to ask you the restaurant. I don't want to dox him. Let's just say it was like the hot dog stand. You can communicate with other hot dog stand users.
Or even it's like airplane apps, like what do you call it? Like airline apps are the same thing, because it's like, well, if I'm not flying that often, I'm going to download the Southwest app. I'm going to use it once so that I have my ticket in my hand instead of having a printout.
Sure.
And then I'm just going to, have it on my phone for another year or two until I get on an airplane again. It's like I'm going to delete it. And then they're going to be like, we sent your ticket to your app. Why don't you have it? And it's like, because I don't use an app once a year.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, oh, you're lost to board because you didn't have the app, dumbass.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? Hey, that's on me. I did delete the app. Everybody here still has the app. I deleted it because I needed space on my phone because I'm not going on the fucking Southwest Airlines app in my free time.
Because that's everything. Is every company and every whatever venture wants you to have an app for them.
Yeah.
Even to the point where it's like, I've gone to clothing websites where it's like, oh, hey, you're buying a lot of shirts from Uniqlo. Download the Uniqlo app, and you download the Uniqlo app, and it's the same as the website. You can just pull up the website. It looks the exact same. It's like, why do I need an app for this? Like, oh, because you get rewards. And it's like, but I don't need, I don't care. Just charge me 15% more. I don't need it. I don't need the fucking headache. I don't need all this information in front of my eyeballs at all times. I get that, whatever. There's like a trade-off with like, oh, the people that have the app like shop at your shit 80% more or whatever. It's like, fine. I don't care. I don't need more apps. I will use it once to order one thing. I will never use it again.
We need to make a Thought Cops app.
Yeah.
You can listen to all the episodes on the app. And then some people are probably thinking, like, scratching their heads, like, wait, can I not just listen to this on Spotify or watch the episodes at youtube.com/thoughtcops? And I say, sure. You could, but if you listen to them on the app, you get points.
And you get to listen to the Lost Jonathan Dunne episode, which will get buried because
it was lost in a horrible fire.
Right.
And also, if you do stack up points, you can redeem them for Zwick bucks, which can be used to purchase stores and not purchase stores.
That's what we need.
You can purchase stores. You can buy a Kohl's if you want, or a Target, or you can buy shirts at teespring.com/thoughtcops or whatever the hell the URL is.
That's what we need for this show is we need mad bucks. But without further ado, did I punish it? Just come on. I don't need your app.
Yeah,
I don't
come
care.
on.
Come on.
Seriously, come on. But yeah, let us move on to the main segment of the show, the meat and potatoes, as it were. If you haven't listened to Thought Cops before, if this is your first time here, every week we investigate the internet's outrage-inducing news stories, and then we sentence perpetrators to a cruel and often quite unusual punishment. So I want to get to a story here that actually it's been happening for maybe a month or so, a few weeks, and it's something I've been wanting to talk about on the show. I never had a chance. I'm going to do it today. So apparently Netflix is allegedly letting people edit their shows after the fact. Have you heard about this, Jonathan?
No.
So apparently this started with Stranger Things. Now, apparently there was a couple scenes of Stranger Things that fans noticed were different. They were like redubbed differently, or scenes were cut differently.
Han didn't shoot first or something.
No,
Jar Jar exists in the old ones. I don't know.
He had a British accent instead of Rasta.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Grant, because also, yeah, they probably would do that now.
That's like the comparison.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because, like, okay, these motherfuckers are really out here being called the Duffer brothers. The Duffer brothers.
Is that their name?
Yeah, the people who created Stranger Things. It's
Yeah.
like the Duffer brothers.
Sure, that's their name.
It just sounds.
Brothers
It sounds like a fake comedy sketch name. You know.
But that's their name.
I know, but it's just silly.
Do you want them to change their name?
I would like that. Yeah. So it does maybe something a little more professional or something. No, but these they
And the Duffer sister.
yeah, they live in the Warner Brothers Tower.
Yeah.
Or this, no, I guess the Netflix Tower these days, the way things are going. Whatever that means. But so they claim that, okay, so it's kind of weird because they admit to certain things. I guess they redubbed one of the characters, like, there's some kind of inconsistency where one of the characters' birthdays was incorrect from season to season. I've only seen season 1 of Stranger Things. I know, Grant, I think you're up to date
I've
on
seen
it.
all of them.
Do you watch Stranger Things, Jonathan?
I think it's 2 seasons.
2 seasons. Okay. So apparently there was a character in the show whose birthday got retconned or wasn't consistent. And then they went back and changed it. Like they overdubbed some character saying it, to which the Duffer brothers said that they were George Lucasing it. You know, which of course George Lucas infamously went back and the original Star Wars movies added a bunch of
I get that
gobbledygook
because
CGI.
There's certain things where we look for that in media.
Yeah.
Like I think the most famous example is like Blade Runner, where it's like, yeah, they made Blade Runner better because the director went in and changed a bunch of shit, and we like that.
But
and
at least they're honest about it. It's Blade Runner, the director's cut.
Right.
This is just Stranger Things, point blank. You know, this is just the Stranger Things you can click on and watch. So apparently it's not just that, though. I guess there was a couple scenes where one of the characters was, I guess, like spying on someone, changing and like taking pictures or something like that. And I guess that scene was removed or altered or changed in some way. And the Duffer brothers say that they insist that nothing was changed. They were like, we didn't do anything. Yeah, that's not something
I don't know if you can do that.
However, there is a lot of evidence. I guess people on Twitter and TikTok are posting they were able to get the original clip from the show,
right,
and post it side by side, and like numerous people were showing the back to back where it was changed. They were like, it was straight up not the same scene anymore.
I vaguely remember that. There was like a weird thing with that scene in particular because it was like, oh, he was doing something, but it was like he wasn't doing it with like ill intent or something like that. But then they saw him and assumed that he was or something like that. And there was like a kerfuffle over it. Like,
was that the first season?
That was season 1. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
So I guess that, you know, they claim or they insist that they did not change anything. I mean, maybe they didn't, but Netflix did. I don't know, but I guess something was changed because there's like side by sides of the scenes and whatever, and they're not like blatantly changed or anything like that, but they are noticeable to people who are big fans of the show or whatever. And obviously, this sets a precedent where it's like, okay, what's next? You know, what are it's like.
I feel like that also creates tonal inconsistencies because everything that like all these characters go through is based on what happened before.
Based
sort
on
of
the
thing.
one peeping Tom scene.
Yeah, and it's like you can't have like these changing evolutions of like storytelling.
It's like the butterfly effect, but for movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you take that out and all of a sudden it's like, well, why do these two characters like have this affinity for each other when this initial thing didn't happen?
Yeah.
You know, like not to be too whatever, but it's like I'm a big fan.
Be whatever.
I'm a big fan of like you just leave things in because they serve the purpose that they were initially trying to serve, and you reconcile with that. Like also the idea that like all these characters have to be like good people is something that like astounds me. It's like I get that it's like whatever. Stranger Things is like a children's show or whatever, right? But like there's so many other TV shows and media and movies and stuff like that where people are like, why did this person do this bad thing? Why did they say this slur? Why did they? And it's just like, because like there's bad people. Like, I don't know. Like every once in a while when there's someone that does something that's out of line, that's like what reality is like. Not everyone has to be like this sympathetic, like everything that they do is good sort of thing. It's like you can have weirdos in a show about weird fucking aliens.
You don't become the boss baby by being a nice baby. You know what I mean, guys?
For real. And get ready for the 2024 cut of Breaking Bad where Walt doesn't break bad. Everything's just good. It's actually a lot shorter.
He just starts to GoFundMe and it's like doesn't really work out.
Yeah. Walt Jr.'s GoFundMe actually fixes everything.
Yeah. Let's not forget when Walt kidnapped his daughter. It's like, yeah, he's bad.
Yeah. So
let's not forget when the
argument people are making about this is like, well, okay, they can update video games, but they can't update movies. And it's like, they're two different things, but also not really. Like, I will say, this is like a super esoteric, but I remember when the most recent Super Smash Brothers game came out, there was like a day one patch, and it was for one reason. It was because I guess Mr. Game & Watch, one of his moves, he was like using, like he's setting something on fire. And in the, like, I guess in the original Game & Watch game that was from the fucking early 80s, he had like a Native American headdress on. So they had to like day one patch that out. So if you have a copy of Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and you're playing the raw version of it, you'll have the uncut Mr. Game & Watch character in that. The before he went woke.
Yeah.
And okay, for video games, mostly, for the most part, it's not content edits. It's mostly like, okay, we're going to nerf Diddy Kong. We're going to make Snake's side B move a little better.
Well, and even still, that's like a relatively new thing that only is now because of the internet. Because before, it was just like, here's your video game. Oh, there's a glitch where you can walk through a wall. Oh, cool. Have at it.
But what's next? We're going to be like HBO Max is like updating Sopranos. We have like a nerfed Tony Soprano now. Yeah, we realized Tony was a little OP, so we're going to nerf him. Paulie Walnuts is a little bit stronger now, but basically it's the same show. I don't like how
Tony Soprano uses all these racial slurs. It's like, the man that kills people for a living. You don't like him saying a word?
Yeah, I stood by the murders, but the racism and the
sexism, the homophobia,
the cheating on his wife.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
The character's a bit much. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was mostly killing straight white men, so I think
that's fair.
There you go. Actually, Tony's woke. No, so again, they're not really content edits for video games for the most part. It's just, we're just adjusting this. But now it's like, I guess that people can change things on Netflix. And okay, at the end of the day, it's somebody's, the Duffer brothers, if that is their real names. I'm still not convinced.
And the Duffer sister.
The Duffer brother, yeah. They're in their Netflix Warner Brothers tower, and they're on their computers tinkering with old episodes of Stranger Things.
They have baloney in their goddamn slacks, Kevin.
That's the problem. Seriously. So I think that these people, it's like, okay, the Duffer brothers or George Lucas or whoever, at the end of the day, it's their decision, Oh, Cashew actually posted another thing here. I forgot that Steve from Minecraft looked like he was jerking off when they first added him.
Oh,
he was eating a piece of, he's holding a piece of meat in front of his pants. Anyway,
hell yeah.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, very perverted game, actually. Very, very unwoke. But they, if it's somebody's creation and they want to change it, who are we to say no, I guess?
You can criticize it, though.
Which we are. We'll
George
sit here and
Lucas,
bitch.
after the VHS tapes of the original 3 Star Wars movie, they should have just left it. Instead, he's like, hey, we got to put new Anakin in. We got to put Hayden Christensen in the movie. We have to put the Gungans in the fucking movie. It's just just leave it. You don't have to do this. This is not adding anything. I get that it's world building, but just leave those alone.
It's funny because people, if you ever look for the Star Wars movies and there's multiple different versions of the original trilogy that have been published and released over the years. apparently like the definitive version was the videotapes release.
Yeah.
That's the best version people have. And anything on DVD, anything on Blu-ray is considered less than. So people are like torrenting and pirating the fucking VHS version of these movies because George Lucas, you know, again, it's his thing, but he changed it all to be, you know, all these.
Again, that's a good like example of like what I'm talking about is like in the original one, Han shot Greedo first, and everyone's like, yeah, because he's a bad guy, because this is supposed to show you he doesn't fuck around. He's like a smuggler, he's a killer, he's a bad guy. And they went, well, but people like him and he's a good guy. And it's like people can like a bad guy.
It's fine.
But they said, oh, no, well, he's a good guy because he redeems himself in the end, so he can't shoot first. The good guy wouldn't shoot first. And it's like, I don't, you just like, you're making the movie like bad. You're making it like baby shit.
I don't know of anybody who is like, oh, I actually prefer the all the charming, you know, they all those like old charming like practical effects and everything. I don't know anybody
that Jim Henson worked on. Like you're erasing the history of Jim Henson. Fuck you.
I don't know anybody who prefers the updated version. You know,
it don't look good.
I don't know. Jonathan, what about you? What do you think? CGI or practical effects?
I don't really know. I think leave it. It's like that's how you want to do it at the start. I think you can like, I think it's cooler to release it as like a updated, like a director's cut instead of like a.
Yeah. If you call it that. Yeah.
Yeah. But like in changing the original one as like you originally intended, like with Blade Runner, it's like, yeah, Ridley Scott, I think wanted to make it that way. And like it got changed and that's why it was so bad when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But keep the old version, you know, like I think people like it and it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because people like if you can at least see or access the old version, there it is. But for Netflix, you know, and any of these streaming services who may do this, if there's a new precedent in place, like good luck finding the old one. If you, I prefer the Peeping Tom cut. No, I can't get that.
It's probably good for their business if they just create like a updated version too, because people like fans of the show will watch the whole thing again. And Netflix, I think, wants people just like eyes on their stuff. So.
Probably at this point, I'm willing to believe that.
I have a punishment for this. Is anytime they do an update, they just have to release patch notes. You know, like less Peeping Tom here. Will's birthday is corrected. You know, there's a whole list you can go through where it's like, okay, we're changing it, but you can view a list of all the changes that we've made. Or better yet, like, you know, a lot of those old Looney Tunes cartoons and stuff and all those old whatever from like the 40s and 50s and such. They're releasing them on these streaming platforms, and instead of editing them, they'll have a message at the beginning that says, you know, okay, this is a very old piece of media. Times have changed. We don't necessarily stand by everything that's presented in this cartoon. We do think that Tom was a little bit abusive to Jerry, but, you know, things have changed over time. So this is exactly how it was presented as in its original format. Here you go. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, at the forefront acknowledging that, you know?
Well, and a lot of, like, I believe it's the case for, like, a lot of, like, race relations scholars to, like, be against the idea of, like, deleting things as revisionism because they want people to see, like, hey, this is representative of, like, you can't just sweep it under the rug and pretend it doesn't exist. Like, if people can see these things and view them through a critical lens, they will understand more about like race relations in the United States or like, you know, when it comes to like other forms of bigotry and stuff like that. It's like, if you keep that in there and maybe do like like you said, like some sort of like a warning at the front or something like that. Like
warning.
Warning, Ken Jeong is dressed as a dark elf, but it is a wink at blackface, and it's also pretty dang funny.
And it's whatever, fine. Like I feel like anyone who has a problem with that is like kind of a moron. But like,
well, and like people that like study these types of things at like for a living,
like us,
disagree with you. Like people that do actual like journalistic work and that type of stuff, or people who like put work into studies revolving around media consumption and stuff like that, say like, do not just like delete an entire episode, because then people can't like contextualize it. All you did was like, you made your money putting this out, and it was despicable at the time that you put it out, but now you're pretending that you didn't do it, and that's not like fair to people that are trying to like critically consume media.
Speaking of despicable, let's move on to our next topic. We'll do one more story here. Let's talk about Andrew Tate.
I kind of wanted to do this one, but
I haven't been following, but I've seen it a lot on Twitter.
I also haven't been following.
I would say let's just talk about it a little bit. We can just skim past it really quick. But like Andrew Tate, to be honest,
it's been a blip on our radar that we haven't covered on the show at all.
I had no idea who this was until Mads mentioned it on the show. I thought it was like, I don't know. But then I was like, oh, I guess this is some sort of whatever. And
I've
now
seen him a lot on
everywhere.
TikTok.
Yeah. So he's like a MMA guy or something?
He's like an MMA or a kickboxer guy or something like that. He's a guy that gets hit in the head for a living that's giving young men advice.
We should all listen to the man who has probably several counts of CTE.
Yeah. We should listen to the man who's one day going to Chris Benoit his entire... No, I'm kidding.
Listen, I've been hit in the head a lot of times too, but like nobody listens to me. They're here to laugh at me.
That's true. I think the thing that I saw the most with him, and again, I'm not seeking this out. Usually Andrew Tate would pop up on like TikTok or something, and I'd be like, no, I don't want to see this. I don't care. I don't need to see it. This is annoying. I get that this is happening. And again, we do a show about this type of stuff. You would think it's important, but I can only take so much, Yeah. I've already gone through the rounds of who is Jordan Peterson, who's Ben Shapiro, who the fuck is Steven Crowder. I know all those people. I don't want to know them. I see Andrew Tate pop up. I'm like, not another guy. I don't need another guy. But the most famous example is I saw videos of him, I guess, debating Hassan Piker, who, if you don't know, I famously dressed like him.
Must see TV, right?
He was debating Hassan Piker, and Hassan Piker was like, well, you're saying these things like, oh, women are worse drivers than men, but there's like studies that show that they're not. And he was like, well, I don't care about those studies. You're listening to people tell you what to think. I'm saying in my personal experience that it's the opposite. And he's like, well, that's not how like empirical evidence works. And he's like, listen, I'm a man, I'm smart. And it's just like, okay, I don't need any more from this guy ever.
Well, good thing, Grant, because he got banned from all social media. Bye-bye.
All social media.
Bye-bye.
Meta, Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, he got banned from Meta. That
deleted
sucks.
him. I believe TikTok has also gotten rid of him. They said misogyny is a hateful ideology that's not tolerated on TikTok. Has TikTok seen TikTok lately?
So he got banned. Jonathan, did you notice your follower count go down by 1 when this happened?
No. Oh, man. When you get the CCP involved, it's bad news.
So he's gone. Good riddance, I suppose. So I don't know. What else is there to say?
That's it.
All right.
I didn't want to talk about it because of I feel like we have to mention it, right?
I guess. I mean, you put it on the doc, and I was like, well, we have time to fill, I guess.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more, speaking of like revisionist history.
Let's punish Andrew Tate. We all get to punch him in the head, since he likes getting punched in the head so much.
Mm-hmm. I think he needs the opposite of that. I think he probably needs some sort of neurosurgeon or
brain surgery or a nice hug.
A nice hug.
Yeah.
You can't hug him. That's gay, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 men hugging, dude. That's toxic.
We're gonna listen to this guy in Manti Te'o documentaries just out about him saying he believed his girlfriend was. Remember that?
What was that?
Manti Te'o, the Notre Dame quarterback who I
don't even know how to spell that.
He got catfished, and then he believed his girlfriend was he had a fake girlfriend, and then he killed himself.
Jesus.
The documentary is on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet, but I really want to.
I like Grant has been trying to type in the name to find it. He Googled it,
and
then a picture of dumplings came up.
Oh, Manta is good. You guys eat yet?
But Adrian Hernandez.
Notre Dame, Adrian. Anthony Hernandez.
Adrian Hernandez. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Notre Dame QB suicide. You can look up.
Okay.
I won't. But
a little easier to Google. But let's run through this last story really quick. So
cancel culture 50 years ago. It strikes. The liberals in Hollywood viciously attacked a Native American woman. If y'all remember 50 years ago, Marlon Brando won a Oscar for liberal Marlon Brando won an Oscar.
For going like this. Like,
yeah,
that's
he
why
won an Oscar for that.
Was it for
And-
Apocalypse Now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Any of them. Yeah. Right. For The Godfather. And instead of getting the Oscar, he sent a Native American woman, Sacheen Littlefeather, up in his stead to walk up on stage and say, Marlon Brando denies like his Oscar, like he's not going to take the Oscar.
Yeah.
And also, he sent me on stage to ask Hollywood to treat Native Americans better.
Okay.
And she was horrifically like booed on stage.
Yeah, Marlon Brando goated with the sauce.
Apparently, John Wayne had like stormed the stage in an effort to attack her.
Did he slap her?
No, he didn't, because he didn't get up on stage, but he like went up there to like knock her lights out.
Keep my man's name out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Get it?
Which is, it's interesting because, Kevin, you've said on the show before that your uncle once tackled a poster.
God. I forgot about that. Yeah. So when I was younger, we had an uncle who lived with us, and he loved cowboy movies. And he was, for all intents and purposes, a recovering alcoholic, and he lived in our basement, and he loved cowboy movies. And he had this John Wayne cutout, like this life-size John Wayne standee, and he put it up in our living room. And I guess we just let that stay there. And I would have friends come over. They're like, "What's with the fucking cowboy?" You know, and one night, he was out, and he comes home late at night, I'm in bed, it's a school night, and I hear a thud, and he comes in, because he saw this quote unquote shadowy figure.
Oh no.
And it was the John Wayne standee, and he like split it in half. Like he tackled it to the wall, thinking it was a home intruder. And keep in mind, again, sober at this point, completely sober. And we're just like, how do you process
justice for Sacheen Littlefeather?
How do you yes,
Go off.
Yes.
Go off.
So
A true
apparently, yeah, I guess in the stead of the Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle, where the Academy said, "Hey, Will Smith, you can't treat one of our presenters like that." Mm-hmm. Someone said, "Hey, there was like 50 years ago, there was this Native American woman that like nearly got her lights knocked out by John Wayne for saying, 'Hey, maybe don't treat us.'" So she was like, "Hey, stop being mean to Native Americans." And everyone said, "No, we need to be mean to Native Americans. How dare you?"
Well,
it was like the most offensive thing that anyone had done at that point in history.
Well, to be fair, John Wayne, famously played, cowboys and such. And of course, we all know about cowboys and Indians.
Didn't he also play like Chinese people and stuff like that too?
Sure.
I'm sure.
Sure.
Not a great guy.
But no, he we all know about that old game, Cowboys and Indians. He might have got triggered by seeing,
I think he was triggered, yes.
Because he was doing Jared Leto method acting.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know what? I'm sorry for doing that, but at least I didn't mail a used condom to you.
So the Academy finally apologized after 50 years.
Oh, okay.
50 years of cancel culture. Sacheen Littlefeather is now 75. She said, regarding the Academy's apology to me, we Indians are very patient people. It's only been 50 years.
Only 50 years.
Imagine if it took Will Smith 50 years to apologize to Chris Rock.
It took him like 5 weeks.
Well, he's a Scientologist and he's going to live to about 1 billion. So he has plenty of time.
Did anyone see Will Smith's apology?
No.
The video of his apology?
No, I figured we'd talk about it on the show. We never did. Maybe next week.
It's almost like he has like a gun behind his head, like the way that he's like talking and like it sounds like he's reading.
See it there, yeah. Just
he's like
off background.
Have you apologized to Chris Rock? I'm gonna tell you this. Chris and I, it's just like, why are you talking like
it's like that scene from King of Comedy where he does have a gun to his head and the other person's like holding the cue cards and like changing them out, like what to say.
Yeah.
It was a Chris Rock stan. And
the
God
Chris
bless
Rock stand. So yeah, I guess my punishment to the Oscars, the Academy, is quit being so woke liberals. To quit canceling people. I don't.
Hey, the
metaphor has gotten a little bit muddled.
Lord knows we tried. But let's move on to our key to the city. Something nice, something fresh, something swell after all that swill. My key to the city this week goes to a comic that somebody, serial law obeyer, posted in our Discord server called Twitter Cops. Now, this is funny because it just very spot on comic about people who are Twitter cops. And it's a comic by an artist, Dan Scotty, and it's very funny because it's like if you check, I would highly recommend checking out the comic.
He did a lot of them. I want to put some of these like on the screen, but there is like he did a whole ass thread. There's 4, and then each post has like 2 or 3 or 4 different comics on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
if if you see this comic, you're gonna be like, that looks familiar, because it does. People are trying to figure out what the hell's happening on Twitter, just like us, So my key to the city goes to Dan Schkade, Schkade. Check him out. Jonathan, what is your key to the city? I see you madly checking. He's just Googling the word good things in Google.
Good stuff, puppies.
Good
so yesterday I was at this wedding at the Oakbrook in Oakbrook. Are you guys Chicago guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Hyatt Lodge Oakbrook. And I found out that it used to be the headquarters for McDonald's.
It did,
Yeah. So like it was just like there was like McDonald's stuff everywhere, and I was just having a treat. There's like this doorknob with a big M.
Oh, that's nice.
And like the toilets were clear in McDonald's. It was all Macca's. And
do they have the Ronald McDonald statue on the bench you can sit next to where he's got his arm out?
No,
like this?
They took all that out. But it was like they had all this like all the art was like McDonald's, like very like a girl with a pearl earring, but she has like a fries and shit. And like when they were cooking, it smelled like McDonald's. And
you said it was a wedding you were at.
Yeah.
Damn, I feel like
they serve McDonald's at the wedding.
I wish the food was not good, and I wish it was a quarter pounder or something.
That's how you know it's bad, when you wish you were eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many weddings where I feel like you go to it and it's like, honestly, McDonald's might have been better. Yeah. Especially you're like drinking at weddings. You're just like hammered. You're like, what would go good now is like just
think about like
when Donald Trump ordered like 100.
Yeah,
for the NFL, for the Super Bowl.
We all made fun of him for that picture of him with his arms out and he's got all the burgers and shit around him. He was based, in that moment. We all
red pilled.
We all
red
mocked
and
him.
Yellow pilled.
We all mocked him, but then we go to these weddings now and we're reminded of McDonald's. And we think to ourselves, God, I wish I could be eating a fucking 60-piece chicken McNuggets right now. The McDonald's headquarters have actually moved to Chicago.
Westtown, yeah.
Yes. It's Hamburger University, folks. Look it up. You can go there. And they have the international menu. And you can order different items from all around the world. And I actually have a quick anecdote about this because
I have another quick anecdote.
I went to this place recently because as I've said on the show, I am unemployed. I have a lot of time on my hands and I'm not looking for work or doing freelance work for Hard Drive. But there was a writer, Simpsons writer, Bill Oakley, posted on Twitter. He does a lot of fast food reviews and stuff like that. And he posted, he's like, if anybody in Chicago can go to the International McDonald's and try the Ghost Pepper McChicken, please let me know how it is. And I'm sitting around, well, I guess I might as well get out of bed today and stop being depressed. I'll run an errand for a Simpsons writer. And I go to this place and they have all kinds of crazy stuff on the menu.
It's like the international menu.
It's constantly changing. They had these fries from China. They had like cheese sauce and barbecue sauce on them, and they were fucking delicious. Like imagine McDonald's fries with cheese sauce and barbecue sauce. You eat them with a fork and knife, like a fucking sir. And then I ordered the Ghost Pepper McChicken, and I filmed a little video for Bill showing like, hey, here's my thing. And silly me, I didn't even realize this because I remember like, this isn't very spicy because I'm not used to, fast food that is spicy is never spicy. And I mean,
I don't know that like Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich is like pretty.
You think so?
I think so. I think because I would usually get 2 of them, and by the second one, I was like, I should have probably gotten 1.
Yeah.
So that, but you have to really.
It was just the duration was maybe too long.
So I filmed a little funny video about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't very spicy. And then I didn't even realize until I got home and somebody commented on it. They said, that's a hamburger, not a chicken sandwich. And I'm like, oh my God, they gave me the wrong item. And I didn't
even realize.
I didn't
You're
realize
so excited
it.
to be making the video.
I didn't realize it until I got home and somebody commented on it. And I'm like, they gave me the wrong item. And then for a bit there, I was like, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to show them the video and say, hey, you guys gave me the wrong item.
Right.
Can I please try the chicken sandwich? But then I'm like, do I really need to go fucking back? And I'm like,
Hey, I took a video of myself eating your food and it was wrong.
for real. No, for like, even
Here's
like
me enjoying it.
Like Bill Oakley like watched the video and retweeted it, and he was like, this sandwich is a disappointment, yada yada yada. But it was like, I even took a picture of this thing and only one person saw it and was like, that is a hamburger. So
is that more embarrassing, or was the Elon Musk thing more embarrassing?
this was worse. This was worse.
What happened to Elon Musk?
That's a whole.
It's a germ I've beaten on the show many times. But yeah, something happened. Basically,
my quick story was just that I made a video about Hamburger University. I did one of those. Dudes from Chicago will be like, oh, I go to school in Chicago, and then they go to Hamburger University. And I got so many comments where people are like, actually, that's where the managers from all over the world go to train. And actually, it's very prestigious.
Yeah.
So you having your smarmy little Chicago sarcasm about this isn't that cool? And it's like,
yes,
it's a joke. It's called Hamburger University. It sounds stupid. It sounds silly.
I didn't know that was real for a long time because one of my all-time favorite movies when I was growing up was a movie called Saving Silverman. And there was a point in the movie where Jack Black's character, they tie up their friend's fiance they don't like and kidnap her because they don't want them to get married. And then she's like, where did you even go to college? And he's like, SU. Oh, Stanford University. He's like, Subway University. And it's one of the funniest lines.
Right.
One of the funniest lines in any movie ever. And apparently that's basically real.
Yeah.
Hamburger University. And it proudly says that outside the building. So Jonathan,
it does, yeah.
Did the wedding you went to, did they have that? Was the Hamburger University still on
No.
proudly displayed?
But like all of those, like the toilets like felt like McDonald's, and like all the, I don't know, just like the doors and shit. And like
wait, hold on. Jonathan, what do you mean the toilets felt like McDonald's?
It was like the color scheme was the same as like a McDonald's, and like the tile and
like the seat was like the toilet. It was sort of like
tasted like nuggets,
Okay, sure. You can still kind of It was like colored like ketchup red and mustard yellow.
yeah.
And there was a Ronald McDonald like hugging you from the toilet
his
seat.
mouth was open, you to piss in.
Actually, no. Ronald McDonald's mouth is the toilet seat.
yeah. It's like this is where the execs get to piss.
Yeah.
Oh, my hat to you.
Yeah, this is where Ray Kroc used to take his dumps. Actually, inside the clown's mouth.
I mean, it was started in Chicago, so
yeah.
Or Illinois. I don't know if it was exactly Chicago proper, but
I think that's where it really expanded.
Wait, no, it was California.
But then like
no, I don't think it was.
No,
I think the original
the Founder.
McDonald's.
Have you seen the Founder?
I did, but wasn't McDonald's started in?
Oh, you're right. The idea was stolen in California, but the very first McDonald's. Because when I was a kid, I don't know why. This probably says something about me, but I was obsessed with like McDonald's history. When I was like 5 or 6 years old.
What year Ronald was born and all that?
Well, no, I remember like
how old Grimace is.
Where is Grimace from?
We don't know. I personally think he's Ukrainian, but that's up for debate. But I remember we took a road trip to that original McDonald's because I wanted to go so bad when I was little.
Right.
And like just see those because the original mascot was Speedy. The guy.
Yeah.
I was about to say Speedy the Hedgehog for some reason, but no, it was Speedy, some guy, just a guy with a hamburger head before they had Ronald McDonald. And that was like going to Mecca for me as a kid.
The one in Des Plaines?
Yeah. We took a trip there and saw it was like this, and they kept. I don't know if it's still that way, but they kept the building the exact same as it was when. McDonald's.
I remember going to like my family used to shop at like Oak Brook like shopping center a lot growing up, and I remember going to the Oak Brook McDonald's, and they had like a huge wall of like an like what do you call it? Like an animatronic, like you press a button and all the fucking characters start like singing a song.
You know what's so funny?
Like, blew my mind as like a 5-year-old.
I remember like back in the day, we all used to make fun of those animatronic things. Like, it's so corny, Chuck E. Cheese. I miss that now. Everything is so
that's like
digital.
What, Logan Arcade has like that.
Yeah, they have the Miss Pups. It's like the Misfits,
right?
But it's these dogs doing like these animatronic dogs doing covers of Misfits songs that are dog themed. I hope to God they're still there because last time I went there was pre-pandemic. I believe one of them might have got COVID and passed away. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, if you're looking for. Yeah, Cashew in the chat says bring camp back. I 100% disagree. But Dr. Deathsticks in the Discord chat.
I mean, again, you agree.
Go to the episode description, Discord server. But Dr. Deathsticks has the address here. He doxed the original McDonald's. It's 400 North Lee Street in Des Plaines, Illinois. If you want to go to the very first McDonald's location.
My key to the city this week goes to Cold Cuts, the podcast done by YOLO Swag and Beetle Moses.
Oh, yeah. They gave us a shout out. Thanks, boys.
Yeah, I've been catching a couple of their episodes, not all the way through because I don't have a lot of free time these days, but I caught the one they did a podcast with Vaush, which was funny. They did one with Rusty Cage. Just in general, it's a good show.
No, those guys are like.
I think we gave them we gave Beetle Moses the podcast.
That's true because that was his very like, first time being on a podcast because YOLO Swag was like he's not used to doing this.
Yeah,
and I think those two are like two of my favorite content creators out there. So check it out.
Check it out now. Anyway,
Thought Cop's word of the week. Oh crap! We don't have one, Lewis.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's make one up.
This Thought Cop's.
Oh no, I do have one. I'm sorry.
Week is yeah.
No, I do have one. Kidult. It's an adult who dresses and acts like a kid.
Great.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get to our final segment of the show, which is our listener voicemails, Jonathan Dunne. Sir, if you could please plug everything you have, all your shows, your social medias, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me every Sunday at the Lincoln Lodge, Sloppy Sundays, and 9 p.m. Second Friday of the week is Canowum's Variety Hour. I'm doing shows all over Chicago all the time. You can follow me at Get Her Done.
Yeah, I know you and
Instagram.
I met over the years, like pre-pandemic, doing like stand-up and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of fun. You coming back?
Yeah, I'm starting up again. Actually, this week I just did a show for the first time in a while. So, yeah.
Well,
I got the bug.
The water's warm.
Yeah.
Get Her Done on Instagram, John Dunn 0 on Twitter, and Jonathan Dunn on TikTok. But it's mostly the same content.
A lot of cross
all
posting.
three, yeah.
Just pick your favorite platform.
Yeah, whatever.
But anyway, let's move on to those listener voicemails because you will link to all that in the episode description. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, our phone number is 312-788-7361, or you can always leave us an audio file at thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com.
I want to be the next Thought Cops guest, and here's why it should be a pandemic. Hi, Kevin and Grant, I'm Peter Griffin, and I know that you have been feeling the heat because your voicemail line has lost the Discord news feed. That means you got an open seat, and I feel I ought to be filling it, because when it comes to voicemails, I've kind of been killing it. See, weekly freaking sweet episodes on Fox on my Jim Bro. I am a ripoff of Homer Simpson mixed with Fred Flintstone. But haven't you heard I'm more than a rapper, I am an anchor too. Remember the time those two nice guys tried to get their jackets? After you, after you, after you, after you, after you've seen that scene. I mean, I'm in right, but I've been sitting on the ringer. In addition to the spitting, I'm a hell of a singer. Bird, a well, a bird, bird, but birds, a well, a bird, surfing. Yeah, Kevin and Grant, why don't you give me a chance? My melodies will make the people out while they cry. I'll perform, man. I'll freaking sweep the floor. Well, whatever it is, I'm ready to do it in Grant's apartment. What do you say to that, Devil? I'll get you to bite. Maybe we can try it live on a Saturday night. Check my feed, you won't agree where I should be in September.
Where did you get this background
with you guys
music?
is the next Dog Cops guest.
Oh my God,
I'm sweating right now.
that is the best voicemail we have ever received.
That's the best voicemail part 2.
That was amazing. Whoever left that, thank you so much. That
we have the name. I don't want to say anybody's name.
Yeah, I will not dox anyone. Obviously, Ms. Zwick, you can censor this out later. Peter Griffin left that voicemail.
It's true, yeah.
I am so glad I didn't screen that. I had no idea what that was going to be. And that was amazing.
The person that left it was like, sorry if the quality's not good. I'm like, well, what?
That's
incredible.
Are you kidding me? Have you heard a Nico voicemail? She throws her phone across the room and talks into it. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was... I'm blushing because I'm flattered. That was funny, but also the thought that Peter Griffin would be auditioning to come on Dog Cops is just
we've been trying to get him on. Real life Peter Griffin. What the hell?
Also, yeah, if you guys want to harass real life Peter Griffin on Twitter, we've been trying to get him on the show for a long time.
Did we ever talk about how real life Peter Griffin and real life Lois were together and they had a YouTube channel and then she stole his YouTube channel and he just started another
Have you seen this guy?
Yeah,
This big fat guy. Yeah.
He'd go to Comic Cons or whatever, but we got one more here.
Yeah, so my 2 minutes of hate this week is the girl speaking to a man, presumably boyfriend, trying to explain stuff. You know what I mean? That meme is just the fucking reverse of the same image of a guy in a football stadium, whatever.
Yeah.
Point being, it fucking sucks. It's garbage. Yep. It wasn't funny to begin with, and gender swapping it isn't funny, and I'm seeing it all over my Twitter, and it just pisses me off because it's just the fucking laziest shit. Yeah, that's all.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
Memes in general, I think
it's all oh my God, dude, I hate it. I posted something on Twitter the other day because I had a thought of there's a new She-Hulk show, and there's that she blank on my blank till I blank format on Twitter, that joke format.
Sure.
I was out of curiosity, I wonder if I search the term She-Hulk on my, and then just see how many are out there. And I scrolled, and it was endless versions of the same format tweet over and over.
Do you ever find that either that's worth doing more of, or that maybe we just need to not be on Twitter anymore? Because I feel
we do the show.
My inclination is maybe I just stop creating tweets. I've been writing a novel lately.
No, I mean, same. I think,
I feel so much more I'm doing something. I'm creating something. I'm not saying I'm better than everyone else, but I'm better than the drag and drop.
No, 100%.
It's just one of those things where it's I get no satisfaction out of being on this fucking website anymore.
Yeah.
I get
who do
more
I dunk on
satisfaction
today?
out of actually just going and doing something creative.
Yeah, and then it's I mean, I don't know, it's an avenue for something, and it's obviously here is a cathartic experience where we can complain about these sorts of things and not participate.
Twitter's
in
also
them.
an amalgamation of stuff, but the stuff we talk about on the show is all over the news.
But I do see that same I know exactly what he's talking about with that picture, and it's super annoying. Have you seen that with the?
Oh yeah.
She's got the armor on the guy and whatever.
And I participated because I'm a little piggy who wants followers.
Wait, no, actually,
I'm trying to appeal to idiots. So if you're a dumbass, come follow me.
I know, and Jonathan, I think that was actually you might have been the first one I saw that did that. And the people who do get on it first, it's for the first maybe half a day, it's okay, because I think the first time I actually might have even seen that picture was from you, and I'm where did you find that picture?
Oh, but then it's caught on too.
But then I saw it everywhere after that.
Yeah.
You know. And that's when it became, cringe, as it were.
Yeah. As it are.
As it is.
Speaking of cringe, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, 312-788-7361, or send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com as the train is honking outside. If you want to support the show, get a backlog of bonus content, and be a part of the episode in our live recording chats, head on over to patreon.com/thoughtcops. Support the show. It goes a long way. We appreciate it a lot. I want to give a shout out to one of our oldest patrons this week, which is the Phone Losers of America, who have been patrons since September of 2019. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jonathan Dunne, for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad we could finally set this up. And thanks to all the folks at home who make it happen. You're the real heroes.
Yeah.
Brian.
Brian!
One of these, we do have to do like a WKUK episode where we just do the Family Guy. Like,
it's been tossed around. If we get
it'll happen.
If we get desperate
It'll
enough,
happen.
folks,
I'm desperate. We'll do it.
My stew is pretty good if you need one.
Oh, duly noted.
Yeah.
Brian.
Duly noted.
Peter, if it's hot inside, he's hot. Let him in.
I can't do Stu. I can do Peter.
I can do Joe.
Yeah.
All right, stay
This
tuned,
is all
guys.
coming together. This is gonna happen. See you, Space Cop.
See you later.